my friend, and we'll just get right into it. And how excited are you to get back in the cage? You haven't fought since August. You're fighting right here in the beginning, right here in the first month of 2015. How does it feel to get this first fight out of the way in the first month of the year?
It's always great to fight early in the year. To give you an opportunity to be healthy and heal it up to fight a few more times a year. Before August, I fought 3 times very quickly. So I fought 4 times in a year against top 10 opponents. So it was, I needed a small break and time for family and get ready for the new addition to the Woodley family. So it's good to be back in there. I got to reset, refigure out basically my approach on fighting. And this year I'm having a really positive approach on actually mixed martial arts.
What new approaches did you learn during that time off?
Basically just knowing the things that you can control and not allowing external things to distract you. What people say in the media, social media can be a huge distraction. Also being confident in yourself and your abilities and not so much, worrying about what the other person's doing or what they bring in or how close it's getting you to a title and, when that might be. Just, you can, if you hang that belt over your head and the title fight over your head, you can really make it look so much further away than it really is. I think if you, just live in a moment, appreciate the moment, think about the fight that's right in front of you, and just that alone, it'll make that time shorten up quite a bit.
You hear fans say, they listen to our interviews with you guys, and they're like, well, how is fighter A not thinking about the title, even though this is what fighters are fighting for? How do you stay in the moment and not look too far ahead?
Well, you just got to respect your opponent. If you believe your opponent is a worthy opponent, you feel like he posed, certain threat to you and he has the ability to go out there and, make it tough for you to come away with the win, then you have to give that person that respect. You have to focus on the task at hand and know that, hey, I can either focus on the title shot, all the stuff that can come about this, the money endorsements, all this other stuff, or I can just focus on the opponent at hand, doing the best job in this fight, and then all those other things are just going to be added to me. They're just going to come with the journey. Me going out there in each fight, putting on a better performance and, getting closer and closer to being the complete martial artist, all the incentives that come with being the best in the world, a champion, monetary incentives, and just leaving behind that legacy, those are just going to come as I focus on that.
Now, a lot was made about you training up in Wisconsin at Rufus Sport, and what precipitated that move to go up north and train in Milwaukee?
Well, a lot of people, when it's something quiet in the media, they want to try to start some buzz. There's no buzz there. There's no story there. I've trained at American Top Team. I've trained at AKA. I've trained at Extreme Couture. I've trained at Body Shop. I've trained at Rain Training Center. I've trained at King's MMA. I've trained at Walker Boxing. There's very few gyms I haven't trained at. It's just funny and weird that this time I go and train in Milwaukee, all of a sudden people would think that I'm leaving American Top Team, which is not the case.
What was the experience like? Going to different gyms, and what did you learn by going to Milwaukee?
It was great. I like the philosophy. I like that they allow the creativity to sink in. There's a lot of high level fighters there, but nobody has the mentality. Even Anthony, he's in all these classes and doing instructional classes and doing team classes. Just not the concept that, I thrive. I think these guys understand the concept of being low and being humble and never, ever feeling like you've made it. That way, you can consistently get better and be coachable and, take it with a more level-headed approach. And I just saw that and respected that everybody's still getting in there and, getting after it.
Now, there was an article in Fox Sports earlier today that, training there, it says it made MMA fun again. Why did that going there make MMA fun again for you?
MMA is political. MMA is political as a sport, as a business. It's also it's ups and downs. Even winning and losing, you can have people say, okay, this is what I think about Tyron. I love Tyron. I hate Tyron. He's the best ever. He chokes in big fight. He's a knockout artist. Oh, he's scared to fight this guy. So what I found that is when you start getting back to the original things that got you into the sport, the love you had, how hungry you were to learn, and just really being creative. I think that's what makes Anthony and Ben Askren such great fighters and Duke such a great coach, is that they allow that creative freedom. They have the fundamentals and they have the sound technique to back it up, but after the fundamentals and the sound technique, they allow the free will to be, creative and make a style your own. And I think they didn't try to change me as a fighter. They didn't try to do too much and throw the kitchen sink. But just a few things that, I could have done a little bit better, just a few things that I do well that I don't do enough, and a few weaknesses we addressed. And, I felt like that made it fun for me again. I didn't feel like I had to prove myself, and I felt like, sometimes when I go in wild card boxing, it's kill or be killed. We going in. I'm going 100, you going 100. And sometimes you don't always want to walk in and have that mindset. So it was great. It was a great experience. But, I have a great experience with the American Top Team. I just felt like for the kid I'm fighting, the type of pressure he tried to put on, Ben Askren does a phenomenal job of that from the wrestling department. And I think that Duke and Anthony have, found the recipe to attack guys with the opposite stance. So I got a lot of guys in my weight class that are southpaw, and I want to be able to pick those guys apart.
Who will be in your corner on Saturday?
Right now it's going to probably be Duke, Dean, and possibly Ben. But it might be one of my other coaches that I've used in the past.
Now, you put an interesting tweet out very recently, about CM Punk. He is training out in Milwaukee, and you defended him where a lot of UFC fighters have been very critical of the move. Did you get to train with him, and what is that experience like seeing him there in Milwaukee?
Yeah, I trained with him a couple of days, and it was more so that once you meet somebody, you have almost a personal investment. Like, okay, people say this stuff, but you don't know him. I met this dude. He in here an hour early before every practice. He's staying after. He's watching all these sessions that aren't even his session, and he's coming back and doing his personal sessions. And he's taking it with a level-headed approach. He knows what he's getting into. He never said, I'm going to fight freaking Johnny Hendricks first, or I'm going to freaking go out like Brock Lesnar did and have 2 fights to the title. He never said that. He said, this is something that I want to do. I'm approaching a point in my life where this is probably the last window of opportunity I can do that. And I think people are jealous of his ability to get signed to the UFC. But what they don't realize is that working hard in a different arena in his life allowed him to be able to be in the UFC. His hard work and what he did to make him the WWE star allowed him to be able to transition to the UFC. The same way Brock Lesnar, his hard work in collegiate wrestling, allowed him to go to WWE, which therefore allowed him to go to the UFC, and then back to WWE. So it's all about hard work. Nobody criticizes The Rock. Nobody criticizes Randy Couture when he goes over and does the Expendables 3 or anybody who's a crossover. So I think that some athletes wanted to steal some of his buzz and to see that he has X amount of followers, and they want in on it. They want that steam and buzz that he has. I don't want that. He was a nice guy. My kids love him, so it's kind of cool to be in there training with him. My son asks me every day, what's CM Punk at? What's CM Punk doing? Like my 3-year-old. So it was just cool, man. I came to his defense because he's a nice dude. He's a good guy. And when you have a problem with a good guy, you don't know him, you got a problem with me. I just don't think that's cool. Social media fans they just live behind these keyboards, and it's like, come out of the dungeon. If you got something to say, come out of the dungeon and be a man or be a woman and say those things to their face. And when you come out of there, you realize that, you know what? How do they don't want to say that? I don't even know this person. You know what I mean? So I'm just all over the social media warriors these days. So they just got me on the right day at the right time, and I've been my own filter.
No, I have noticed it. Me and you actually got in not a bad exchange. It was about Hector Lombard, and you were you were definitely right. I was asking him what you thought about the fight and everything, and then look at Kelvin Gastelum, and what was your impression when you were approached about fighting Kelvin coming up on Saturday?
I saw it coming. I was looking at these Shirt Dog or these other scouting reports that said these are the matches to make after this fight card. And 9 out of 10 of them had me and Kelvin fight him. He had, I saw the rankings come out. He jumped in. He he switched the rule with Jake Ellenberger and jumped to 7. And I just started thinking about the landscape, and, I'm like, all right, they're going to match this up. So when they called me, it wasn't a surprise. And I'm a person that's been that young, spunky kid that wanted to beat the top guys. So I've been watching them. I'm watching him. I'm watching Brandon Thatch. I've been watching Gunnar Nelson. You'd be stupid not to look over your shoulder and see these young guys that they want it, man. They're hungry, and they're a little bit more well-rounded than some of the veterans are. So luckily, I've taken my career at a different approach. I've really valued each area of mixed martial arts, and I'm pretty well-rounded. But some of the other fighters that are, 1- and 2-dimensional, these young guys are going to come and knock them off. So I just have prepared and trained to be able to stay at the top as long as I can and, retire on top.
And 2 more questions, Tyron, and thank you for the time today. And do you feel like you're the forgotten man at 170 pounds, considering, everyone's talking about Lawler and they're talking about Hendricks, and now Lawler's taking a little time off and Hendricks is going to fight Matt Brown coming up here in March. And, people talk about Brandon Thatch. He's got a fight. He's headlining a show coming up in a few weeks out in Colorado, and not a lot of people are talking about Tyron Woodley. Do you feel like you're the forgotten man at 170 pounds?
No, it's a conditional sport. It's a political. So, when you don't ride to the tune that people want to listen to, sometimes they get butthurt and they get sensitive about it. So I think that some fans, when I knocked out Duncan Kim, when I knocked out freaking Koscheck, when I knocked out Jay Heron, and I freaking beat Carlos Condon, they remember those things in a moment, but we're very conditional in the sport. So, I always give them something to think about. My fights, I always give them a good impression. So my plan is to continue to do that and continue to make a good lasting impression on, not just for the fans, but also for myself. I'm not going to lie and say, okay, I'm on the treadmill. I want to get off the treadmill and the fans keep me on it. Or I'm in a sparring session, I'm getting beat up and I want to take a break. And I think about the fans in the crowd and how I'll be letting them down, so I push it through. No, I think about my wife. I think about my sons. I think about my daughter who'll be here in March. I think about the house I want to be able to pay off. I think about all the things that this sport can bring to me. So that's what I think about. So the fans, yeah, you can delay, but you can't deny. I'm going to keep knocking people off. I want to keep being freaking the Anthony Rumble Johnson of the welterweight division, and people aren't going to want to stand across the cage for me. And that's pretty much what I've been. And people will always say something. They'll say something bad, they'll say something good, but they'll always say something. So when they say nothing, I just take that as a time to just focus and not have to do interviews and not have to talk crap and not have to do anything. So I take it as a time to take a break and just enjoy life, enjoy my family, and enjoy being an athlete again.
When you envision the fight on Saturday, how do you envision the fight playing out?
I just envision me going out there and just having a lot of style. Just being smooth and just being elusive, just flowing, and just really just going out there and just dictating the pace. That's what I plan on doing, and that's all the visualization I've done, all the thinking through and planning back. I just keep seeing me out there relaxed, keep seeing me out there flowing, and finding my spots and finding my shots. And if I find a way to get somebody out there, I've always stepped in, and I've always rose to the occasion. I've always finished the guys when there's been a chance to finish. Nobody can ever say that Tyron Woodley had somebody hurt and he didn't try to finish him. So, with that said, I think those instincts will jump in if the opportunity comes up.
Tyron, thank you for the time and the best of luck on Saturday.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
And that was Tyron Woodley. Good luck to Tyron coming up on Saturday, and you can find this article on sportingnews.com. I'm Steve Milhouse.